Oh, welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn. And you know what? I have two of the funniest people with me right now in all of gem shopping. And that is, again, Asif and Latif. Number one and number two in the production department. And you know what? All your comments saying how much you like to banter with them, I do as well. It just kind of livens the place up. And even though Asif took my free item and he's going, yes, 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 I'm calling him out. I'm calling him out on it. Calling him out.
So I'm going to give those away for you on air today.
Right. He's going to credit me and I'm going to get, yep. So I'm going to get today live action on that. So listen for it. I'm going to count every one. He better contribute to me. So, somehow I think it was just a way to give each of his children a stone. Right, exactly. So the next thing I pulled up today for a free item, he wanted that one too. So and then Latif jumps in on it, and Latif says, Shawn, do you know how much money that is? I'm like Lurch. In the Addams Family, if you never watched it. Okay, here we go. You know what? I have so much to do today that I am jumping right in on it and skipping all the fun and games. Here we go. Let's get to the comments and the trivia. There's the trivia winner. And then I have new items, and I am going to go through lickety-split as fast as I can, which, of course, you'll hear in the peanut gallery before long about that one. Show and go. And what I used to do in show and go was I actually just went from item to item to item to item, just pulling up the item number, no description. We're not going to do that. We're going to give you a little bit more as far as the description goes, but it's going to go quicker because there'll be items that you've already seen at a nice discounted price. Chuck, have a seat if you want. Good to see you. Here we go. All right, starting off. Now, Miss Karen in Texas, I had missed a message that she had sent last week, and somehow, I don't know, it's the way it posts them. Anyway, she did the What Am I? Probably just as well on this one, Miss Karen, that we didn't disclose the results, but you kind of hedged your bet a little bit. So let's read that and see what I mean. Hi there, Shawn, Chuck. Let's see. She actually, I think, gets everybody. Shawn, Chuck, Asif, Latif, has Uriel even in there. Raven, production crew, and all the rock lovers. Hope all is well. It was so cool watching Corduroy and his excitement picking out the chickenite. Chuck just walked in, so perfect timing for him to get to hear about his wonderful son and his experience. And little Corduroy has a rock, and I actually have and brought in, because I knew he wouldn't get to be here himself, which, well, with as much as we got to do today, might be all right. And but I didn't forget the little guy because I know on his sheet he was looking for garnet schist, and so went to my mine in the backyard, have some of that, and also, if you remember, and Chuck might remember, not long ago, few weeks, I did a What Am I with that silver sheen obsidian. And it's funny because Corduroy happened to say, didn't he say obsidian was one of his favorite stones? So going to give the little guy that, and then straight from my mine, a piece of mica schist with the garnet in it. So happens to be my birthday. Here you go. Take that with him. Check them out yourself there. So yeah, all right. Let's hope he does well because he entered a third grade contest but he's only in second grade. So I think we're hedging his bet there a little bit. Okay, so here we go. And thank you, Chuck, for sharing the little guy with the Rock family. Please tell Mr. Corduroy he is a little gentleman for thanking me, and he is very welcome. It was my pleasure. I wish him luck with his contest. My favorite part was watching him play the game show, Price is Right with Shawn. This is what it is all about. I just hope some of those pieces turn out okay. If not, I'll send another batch. You know what? I think that little corduroy just clever enough to keep saying, "Oh, I just need another batch." That one wasn't very good. He certainly had the eye for picking crystals. So we have a future, maybe Shawn in the making there. Okay, I'm not using the G word here, but geezers, holy moly, here's my answers. All in fun. I just couldn't figure out what was what, and the more I tried, the longer the list grew. Ha! Had a blast and laughed as I was running against the clock. So here goes. Okay, so it was, she answered more like in what we call a shotgun answer. In other words, just blast the gun, throw up as many pellets as you can, and let's see if one of them gets lucky and hits their target. So number one was, I don't even remember them all, but I do remember the first one was not a kunzite. It was a danburite. Number two, she has this chrysocolla with druzy quartz. I believe that was a cavensite with stibnite, but that was a good answer. Colombian emerald with dark or graphite inclusion. So that would have been the third, the green stone. Can't remember that right offhand, but I knew there was no emeralds there. Spessartine garnet or grossular hessonite. Great answers for them, but I believe that was the spinel that was in that place. And very much looking like those two. So good answer on that. The epidote quartz or Japanese. I like how you do two answers there. Epidote quartz or Japanese rainbow andradite. Those are two quite different stones on that scale there. I'm trying to remember what that one actually was. I can't. The sixth number was the one before the sapphire. So she has sapphire or tanzanite. Karen, you're cracking me up. Which it was, of course, the sapphire. And then number 7, agate, banded, and in parentheses, tumbled. Well, if all that would have been the case, you covered that one well, and except that it was the fuller, the glass piece. But I love the answers. You made me laugh, and that is counts for a lot. So your score with the multiple answers, not very high, but the effort was certainly as ranked as high as you could probably rank for effort. As you see, I'm not playing a fair game again, providing multiple answers. I even tried using some of my older finds of kunzite and tourmaline for comparison. Took me a while to find. I don't think it helped. No, it wouldn't have when you're comparing it to, like, for a danburite. Because remember, you had 4 sides of the danburite. Remember, tourmaline is almost going to have 3. Until next week, so long. Miss Karen in Texas. Cheers. Then she has update on Magnet Cove. The mine is reopened. The homeowners have decided to host public digs. They had leased the property to Advent Mining for a year, and when the lease expired, they started a new Facebook page and announced they would be hosting public digs. This was a surprise, but a welcomed announcement. Yay! And I think she had written me another note saying they were just waiting to get the insurance in place for it. And boy, I tell you what, that would be a shame, because if you were really coming back with those kind of finds, and yeah, I'm still working on getting the mud out. I don't want to show them to you half finished. So yeah, that would certainly be a mine if I lived close enough to go to it. That would be worthwhile. It's not, unlike the Diamond Hill mine, which of course Chet, my very good friend and the Quartz King, he used to own the Diamond Hill mine, and he has over 30 different pieces that are in the Tellus Museum, many of them from that particular mine in what I consider its heyday, when it was really the good stuff was being found. Now it's a fee dig mine, and I didn't go, but Raven went with some neighbors, and so for the entrance fee and whatnot, what she showed me and came back with, certainly I think for the hobbyist on a different level than her, would have probably gotten a lot more enjoyment out of it. She spent most of her time kind of helping other people and helping this one little child, because, our personal specimens, there's nothing she was going to find that was going to beat our personal specimens of Diamond Hill Mine. But she also got a feel for what these mines end up to be like. They end up to be having the deeper holes filled with water, inaccessible. Most people just are going through the tailings, and very new material is ever pulled up, and their chance of finding anything is very low. Or you can go to a place like out in the Amazonite mines that do fee digging, which I could not believe it when I read one of the productive claims. They charged you, and this was a few years back, so I don't know the status now, but this gives you a general idea. They charged you per person $75 to come onto their property, dig for them, and then whatever you found, you show a assessor, not an appraiser, just someone that assesses what you have found, and then they make a price on it, and you are welcome to buy them from them or just give them to them. Let me see. What's wrong with this picture? You're paying to do their mining for them without any possibility of getting anything for it unless you buy what you found. I kid you not. And I guess supposedly what they maybe charge you for the specimen is a good deal, you would think, right? No. I saw the amount of money that they were assessing specimens that I would sell for 10 or 20 bucks, 50, $75. It's crazy. I could not wrap my head around that, but that is exactly. And they had, they limited the number of people that could, of course, that's at least wise enough to be on the side at a time. They had people waiting to give their money to them to dig the stones for them and not be able to take them home without paying them for that. Apparently, it's a business model that's working really well for them, but let me tell you what, you will do much better if you would just buy, I have 35 to 40 from the K&G claim from Colorado, stunning Amazonite crystals that overall would be a fraction of what you end up paying for if you found something. So worst case scenario, you walk off having, the worst case scenario is you find an incredible, beautiful specimen and you mined it and dug it out for them, and it's going to be $5,000 if you want to take it home. What are you going to do? Give them $5,000 for mining their? That's a true story. So that is not the only place. Jackson Crossroads here in Georgia, the world famous amethyst dig, went with that business model also. Now, I don't know if they're doing it also that way, but that was, I guess, for these mines that have a higher, bigger name for themselves, think that they can get away with that, with doing that. And I think that is just wrong. That's wrong. The average person, unless it's someone like me, they don't know if you're giving them the price that they tell you for what you found is a truly discounted value, or, maybe they're actually charging you twice as much than what it would cost if you bought it from my show, kind of thing. Again, unless you're someone like me that knows the market, they don't know, and therefore they want to walk away with a souvenir, and it makes it really hard. You almost hope you don't find a specimen that would tempt you to pay more money than you should for it. If you want to come away with a souvenir, just hope that you find a $25 or $30 item and, say you dug there and you paid them $75 for the privilege of finding a $25 item that you had to pay them $25 for. All right, so that said, it's a lot of these mines, that their better days have come and gone, this is how they're making their money off of them now. And um, Diamond Hill was fair because it wasn't like $5 to get in and kind of thing, and a couple bucks to park or something. It wasn't much, so your expectations aren't much, and therefore you're not disappointed. Because other than that, you'd be disappointed. What you come away with would be disappointing. If I went out there, my expectation, I would end up just helping everybody else because I know that I would not find anything. If I told you, let's see, is it out? Yeah, the one right here in the middle again. See the big one in the back? That Diamond Hill? I've had it for sale here. I pulled it off the market. You wouldn't believe how inexpensive I was offering that piece, and nobody took me up on it until I realized just how unique and valuable that actually was. So I cut the base off it myself with my big saw. So anyway, let me get going. I got lots to do, but it is one of those I just wanted to on these feed digs. Now, that's what leads me back to Magnet Cove. Oh my, if I had a mine like that actually you could come away with buckets of good stuff, or not sure, that is exciting. That is worthwhile. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts, hello all, lots of great stuff. I scored one of the large single demantoid crystals from, and everybody has loved that story when I tell them, an origin near Turkey. Another guy said, close to Armenia. They will not say Iran. But, maybe it is due to sanctions, embargoes, whatever. But, the little artisanal miner, I showed you that picture up on the side of the mountain. And even from 2019 to 2020, over 5 years, the amount of additional mining, or let's say damage or mining tailings was so minimal. All those years of digging left barely a little mark on the side of the mountain. And who did it benefit? The little individual artisanal miner that was brave enough to climb that mountain, which is always very cold at night. That particular mine is actually in the northern part of Iran, in the northern hemisphere, so therefore it's going to be colder than the other deposit, hundreds of miles away. And if you would have had a large mining company come in, it would have stripped it completely out, that entire bench, in a day. It would have destroyed the mountain, building the road for the big, heavy backhoe to get up, or bulldozer to get up to it, leaving a huge scar. Remember, there's barely any scar, just a little animal path. So, which I'm sure they probably went up and down using a donkey, and may have spent the night on the side of the mountain. I don't know, but it was a great way to see how a lot of third world mining is done. And what I actually liked, a lot of people might think, oh, those poor people up there. No, those people have a opportunity to pull something out from Mother Earth without having to pay the man, without having to buy a claim, get a license. No, it was still just artisanal miners that, if you're willing to make the hike up that mountain, work really hard, then you might come away with some beautiful green gems. And eventually they made their way to me. Now, I have some others, as I mentioned the other week, and I think I've decided that I'm going to release a few more, and some of these might be maybe nicer than you want, and there's going to be some that'll be less expensive in the batch. I was smart for once or twice in my life. I bought, just like I did on those Japanese iridescent rainbow garnets, I bought when I could, and I took everything they had when I could. And the Japanese garnets have been one of the best things I have ever done, because it has allowed me to offer so many of you a quarter for a nickel, easily. it could be more like a quarter for a penny compared to some of the pricing on that. And that, remember, by 1 year later, after that original discovery was made, the town shut it down under threat of imprisonment if you trespass. So there it will be no more garnets. The rockhounds overwhelm that site, as they will in so many other places. But up Beckley's Mountain in Iran, you can pretty much bet you have it to yourself if you speak Farsi and look Iranian. I have a feeling if you look like me or an American, you're not going to wind up in a very good place. Now remember, garnet's one of the two collections I specialized in: the Made in America, which is everything mined in America, and the other was my birthstone, which is garnet family. So I am decided to release some more of the Iranian. It's just like the turquoise, Persian turquoise. Well, back when Persian turquoise was actually the thing, it wasn't known as Iran. So it's still okay to call that fine turquoise, if it's truly from Iran, Persian. So that's more acceptable. It's funny, though, how all the dealers will do whatever it takes to avoid using the actual word for where they are from, which is Iran. So look forward to some more, though. So if you want to add another one to your collection, I want to let everyone get in on one that wants one. And then those of you that want to add another one to your collection, the next batch that I release might be for you, might be some upgrades. So we'll look at them again. I haven't seen them in a long time. So some things like that I just put up and forget. And from a discovery that, it's only found 10 or 11 years ago, I couldn't have forgotten them too long. And you know what made me actually thinking about them? Are those two stones of Miss Gabby that I didn't show all of you the picture of, but I saw the pictures of them. And I was looking, I was like, I have some of those. They're not that nice, but I have some demantoid crystals from Persia. And I didn't say anything at the time because, I had to think if I really wanted to release them. So there's nothing like saying you have somebody's favorite candy but you're not going to give them a piece. So I didn't want to do that. I do that enough, right? So yeah. So with releasing those 5 last week, I don't know how many of them sold or anything. I do know it sounds like a couple of them sold, but to give you some more other choices, because for me, it doesn't matter. You can get them. If you don't buy them, that's fine as well. It's really fine. I want the show to be something special. So when I can bring you something like that, it makes it really special. Okay, let's get going here. Great update there, Miss Karen. All right. So back to Mr. Anthony. Okay, so remember, Mr. Anthony also is collecting garnets. And of course, I have the wonderful owl with the Sabarite eyes that he had made for me. Have it on again. So with him collecting demantoid garnets also is one of the reasons all of you are getting in on them, because I thought about Anthony. I thought, you know what, if I let these go, I said, I bet Anthony will add to his collection something that he would never be able to find otherwise. So I'm glad to see that you did. From Iran, of course, I do not have that locality. You are pulling out some heavy hitters. I want all of them. Thank you for going over the turquoise. Color question I had for me, I really like the black, either the veins or black field with color. Any color that is associated, let's see what the next word will be, associated with turquoise, absolutely, with genuine unstabilized turquoise. I saw somewhere wild horse slabs with magnesite, brownish and white, being sold as a turquoise. The cool thing was I was able to call them on it. Great job. Lots of stuttering and then retracting. They also had white buffalo. And yeah, right. Except the movie with Charles Bronson where they hunt the white buffalo. Yeah, Chuck is shaking his head. He knows the movie. That was a great movie. I remember that from a little child watching it. So I actually watched it about only a year ago as an adult. It's like that. And that movie came out at the same time Soylent Green did. For those of you that ever watched Soylent Green, I won't spoil it, but it is a great movie to watch. And yeah. So on the turquoise, there's a lot of things that they're doing and stabilizations and treatments and all. And yeah, you got to know your stuff to make sure that you're not getting ripped off. And remember how I showed how you can tell when it's impregnated with plastics or resins when you take a tool and if it leaves a trough where you can see it digs out a like in the garden and you have that little trough of in this case resinated plastic that it peels off. It doesn't like powder as if it was part of the stone. No, it just leaves like a little trough on either side of the line you're digging. And yeah, giveaway. Okay, let's see. Trivia. The only quartz I heard you mention pertaining to a god was the quartz point with irises, iris being the name of the Greek god of rainbows. I guess it would help if I told you what the questions were. Question number 1 was, what type of quartz is named after a Greek god? Answer being iris. Question number 2 was, what item was shown that gets its color from an organic source? Answer, Ethiopia. No, pink Peruvian opal. The pink, just like the pink halite from the Salton Sea, some of the other evaporative lakes in California. And a lot of people don't realize that, halite is sodium chloride. It's no different than table salt chemically, but it can be pink. It gets its pinkness from the same source that and reason why flamingos are pink. And it all has to do with what they eat. And like if they eat the little tiny freshwater shrimp, which I used to have in my aquarium, and that's why shrimp are pink and those kind of things. So it's a little type of organism and it will cause them to turn pink, cause minerals to turn pink. And halite, there's a beautiful blue halite that was found in Turkey. And I've thought about getting some of that. A lot was offered to me. A lot, meaning a batch, was offered to me. And I guess they thought it was a fair price. To me, it was salt. And even though it was a really cool color, I just couldn't see it being worth what they were wanting for it. And it wasn't as attractive even as the pink material. And the quote crystals were cleaved from others. So I passed up on it. Anything that you can just dissolve, that water will just wash away, that's a product you always have to be careful with. Humidity can affect it. You can slowly have a surface, a little bit of white dust as it dries off. So anyway, keep that in mind when you're dealing with any like a hydrated mineral, meaning a mineral with water, because it can become a meta, whatever it is, which means it is without water. So that happens. Okay, number 3 was name the 2 origins of the amethyst shown. We showed the incredible Indonesian spherical formation of amethyst, not chalcedony. And we showed the Uruguayan, that really beautiful piece that was mounted on the steel frame. Okay, so let's see. That was, okay, last week. All right, next we have Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. I just love the longer shows. 3 hours was wonderful. That's what it's normally supposed to be, but a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. Thanks to all for the time spent. I love the photos showing the demantoid mining regions. I'm amazed at how hard it is to mine some of the Earth's treasures due to terrain, weather, underground, underwater. The small miners who do it to live at subsistence level have my utmost respect. It's unfortunate that so many work for huge, often foreign mine owners who reap the money while they do the backbreaking and health ruining work for barely anything. And that is exactly the point. But those miners would rather be doing it for themselves, they're artisanal miners, with the hope of finding something wonderful that they get to keep. The miners down in the dangerous mines, you know, they pretty much are searched every day, coming and going, and there's no hope of them keeping anything wonderful that they find. Um, there's a lot of other stories I could tell you that go along with that, but at least up on the side of a mountain, they get to keep what they find, and you know, it may be dangerous work, but it's more rewarding, I would think. And I know from what I'm able to offer those to you for, and the amazing deal I'm able to get. Um, I wish I could almost pay more. I guess I'll put it that way, uh, because I know what they went through to get them would certainly make it cost a lot more if it was mined anywhere else. You know, these people are having a difficult time in Iran. The sanctions have hurt them, you know, rightfully so. But remember, separate politics from the miner and politics from the mineral, and you know, so it squeezes the prices on everything, and that's been going on for so long that these items are still coming out. They're still getting filtered out, and it's not like even if it was part of a sanction, you know, they're sanctioning these huge companies that hurt, you know, the bigger company, the bigger revenue that goes to the state. I'm still for the little artisanal miner if he can get something to the black market and, you know, make his few bucks. Um, it's better than nothing. And so, as long as there's a market for him to be able to sell those few items and he goes so much effort to get them, um, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I'm not looking at the side of a mountain where in 5 years' time it's completely stripped away, which is what would be the case. This was 5 years of mining. I showed you the before and after. That it was only the little brave artisanal miner that went up there and yeah, put some money, extra money in his pocket and for his family because he was willing to make the effort. Just like me going out in the woods with all the dreams and hopes I have of finding, you know, an old chimney or, you know, it's rainbow chasing. And we all do that and have a part of that in us. Okay, so Miss Cindy, I am glad that you view that like I view it. That you know the little miner deserves his fair share, and I'm glad that's the case with those amazing specimens that I was able to offer you. I'm so excited to have won the Madagascar labradorite. Yeah, that raised a lot of eyebrows around here when I gave that away. I think it should end up as a sun catcher on my office window. I will think of the show every day as I look at it. I adore labradorite as well as anything from Madagascar. Yes, let it think of you, the show, and what you want to buy from it next. That is always a great way to support the show. I got some nice little specimens at the rock show on Saturday. What a coincidence. A pink opal from Peru. Not as showy as your specimens on the show today, but a bucket list item. A chunky gal sapphire, a Turkish opal. I checked it out as you recommended, and it does have spots of fluorescence. Rare to me finds. Not rare to anybody, I think. Atacamite, a beautiful green crystal formation from the La Farala mine in Chile, named after the Atacama Desert, which has produced some amazing specimens. And of course, a lot of them always copper oriented because of the big copper mine there. And cubanite from the Bergslagen mining district in Orrebo County, Sweden, with iridescent golden needle-like rods under a lot of magnification. A copper iron sulfide is what cubanite is. Its type locality is Cuba, named after Cuba for its original discovery there. And so the interesting thing, because it's so closely related to chalcopyrite, it's only a atom away or two away from having the same chemical formula, copper, iron, and sulfur. And the way you can tell the difference between the two is it's slightly magnetic, whereas chalcopyrite is not. And here's what a lot of people don't realize. Pyrite is iron and sulfur, right? You would think it's iron, it's got to be magnetic. No, it is diamagnetic. It is not magnetic. And I won't go into the chemistry of it, why, but in general, the way the forces are and the way the molecules arrange themselves are in opposing directions. So it's real unique. So it makes it not magnetic for being mostly iron. So you can't always count on something with iron as being magnetic. And that's why a defining difference then, if you're trying to tell a difference between chalcopyrite and cubonite. One is slightly magnetic, the cubonite. A dumortierite on matrix. Ooh, that's a treasure. Not as inclusions like your beautiful specimens, but the blue sprays are lovely on the matrix too. A small cave in the rocks, Illinois fluorite. And Raven actually has been to the Cave in the Rocks and to a place called Old Man's Cave. She actually has camped out down in that area and region in southern Illinois and back in her deadhead days. And she actually brought back and found a little geode. She didn't know it was a geode until she got with me. I said, you know, I could tell by the weight. And so we're waiting to open it up and her decision to do it, but it's definitely hollow. So that was pretty cool. She found something really neat, and she didn't even know it. A small Russian chair, you put chariot, but charoite, I know what you meant. All are thumb size, but that's what I could afford. I have spent 2 days checking them under UV and magnification, and make sure you get that magnet out too. That is important. Fun. Calco is also orthorhombic, a different crystal system, whereas cubonite is tetragonal. So if you know the difference in crystal systems, that would be another way to be able to discern between the two. Trivia: iris quartz, pink opal, Uruguay and Indonesia. Hope everyone has a wonderful week as we head into spring. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Miss Gabby says, howdy, Rock family. Well, loving the shows more all the time as we progress and get deeper into the private collection. I bet Raven is watching her possessions very, very closely these days. LOL. Yes, that's so funny you say that. We have big issues about that. So she had a big birthday this since I've spoken to all of you, and I gave her one of her favorite. I'll bring it in and show all of you because I think I'm going to have it wire wrap maybe, but it's kind of big. But she likes wearing some big items, simply wire wrap. A big, cool specimen. So I'll show it to you. I won't give it away until you get to see it. That was neat. I think she liked it. Let's see. Miss Gabby says, have never seen Vivianite till about 2 years ago when I bought one. I liked the color and formation, and it is on matrix, which you know I love. Did some research and found that it can actually be found on corpses and decomposing materials. One article referred to it as the necro mineral. We should have named it necrolite or something like that. Glad I read that after the fact. Chuckle. But I think there is a different variety of it. Some great Iranian demantoid specimens and love grape amethyst specimens. Had already called them grape chalcedony. After your presentation, I checked the label on the one I have had for a few years, and it did say amethyst. I hadn't remembered that. And that's what I had told all of you, that a correct label will say amethyst, but for many, many years, all the original labels all say chalcedony or grape agate. But it has been definitely ascertained scientifically that it is an amethyst, which, of course, greatly improves the rarity and value of those. So I'm glad to see that you went and checked it, and now you realize you have something more special than you knew. She didn't say whether she bought them or not, or got in on the Iranian demantoid specimens. I hope so. The neat, interesting thing also is that a gentleman named by the name of Gottlob Werner in 1817 is who named the Vivianite. So he named it after John Henry Vivian, an English Cornish politician and mine owner. Now, remember, the Cornish miners were the creme de la creme for miners across the world at that time. Their knowledge led to mining successes around the world. A Cornish miner was like gold everywhere he went because of the mines in that part of England. Iron, coal, and that knowledge was, at that time in the world, very limited. So Cornish miners could always find a lot of work and had great success mining wherever they went by using that knowledge. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn says, "Hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. Thanks for the lessons about saw sheen. That's good to know when we go shopping at the gem shows." Yes, it's real important. We showed you how they create a wet look and disguise inclusions by using something, and she spelled it right, S-A-W, then S-H-E-E-N, saw sheen. It is what they use. And Chuck, you missed this part last week about me talking about it because Chuck being a woodworker and, well, just all around artist, it's the final finish they will put on granite countertops. And it kind of is the final gloss. It just wipes on and dries naturally. If you put too much, you need to wipe it off. You saw in those specimens how it gathered. And so it should have been wiped down better. And also, like Asa pointed out, you could see how it had gathered in between the other crystals to make it look like something it really wouldn't when you got it in person. The other way you can tell saw sheen is, even if they wipe it down, it will tend to gather right at the meats of the crystals. There'll be just a little tiny ridge, not all the time, but many times they're not properly wiped down after it is applied. And you'll get that little tell. And if they don't do it and clean off every little facet, all it takes is one facet or face of the crystal to be able to know that saw sheen has been applied. It's not a total like boo-boo, like selling something that is a no heated sapphire when it's been heated. That's a big boo-boo. And you can't use it on everything. Sometimes you can really mess up your specimen. But with things like quartz or garnet, stable minerals like that, yeah, you can use it and you can make something look like something it's not. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Okay, so I wonder if Miss Barbara got a demantoid. Everyone liked them. No. Oh, yep, you did say managed to snag one of the good. Okay, good deal. Okay, so managed to snag one of the rich green Iranian demantoids and the Vivianite with the middle crystal sticking out. The one shooting the finger. Perhaps Miss Gabby will share the creepy Vivianite story we geeks were discussing. Yes, she did, which is the fact that it is, the necromancer's stone. Vivianite can also form in your aquarium. It takes phosphorus and iron. Having had 14 different aquariums, salt and fresh, I never actually saw Vivianite, but the way it forms is going to be in at the molecular level. And then as it builds up, it could become a little bit more druzy type look. So it's not going to be those long crystals like that form in those pods that are oxygen deficient, which is what it takes. And then, of course, as soon as it hits the air, when they hit these pods, Vivianite is clear, hits these pods, and within minutes, not days, not hours, minutes, it will oxidize into those green and blue colors. Now, there is some train of thought where they say that it will continue to get darker and darker, but a scientific study was done on pure Vivianite and it did not. I'm not sure exactly where the science lies on that. To me, there's been Vivianite in collections for a long time, and it hasn't gone to completely opaque or dark. So I think there needs to be a further studies done on that, because the real scientific one said no, that light doesn't have an effect on the continuing oxidation of it. So keep an eye on your Vivionite and see, and maybe you can check back with this and say, well, I left it in the windowsill and the sun was on it all afternoon, and now it's black. So check that out. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that that will be the case whatsoever. Let's see. You guys are having a great time. The comments we actually can hear are hilarious. We know you're there and part of the family. It plays well, so let's keep it going. Be well. Oh, Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Absolutely. That's what I told the guys. And that's like upstairs when Asif is actually going to be doing a show here starting, well, of course, by the time you get this, it'll have been passed, but working with Mike. So that was good to hear with him. And yeah, I think a show benefits from that kind of interaction. And I always encourage it with the guys to pipe in when they have something to say, whether it's good, bad, or just goofy. All right, Miss Karen in Texas says, hello, Shawn, Asif, Latif, Raven, production crew, Chuck, and all the rock lovers. Hope all is well. It was fun this week with all the laughter between you and Asif and Latif. Wow, the presentations of specimens was super. Congrats on the new equipment. The zoom quality, absolutely spectacular. I imagine climbing inside that great amethyst, curling up and taking a nap. I talk about that all the time. I wish I was just a little person and could walk inside those little caverns like that. And yes, they're trying to take my camera lens away and take it back upstairs now. And I'm fighting them hard. No, I'm the one that needs it. So, but I think I'm going to get to keep it. Answers, Iris, and then dang. I would have known this if this is the question regarding the color of the opal. I would have thought this if I only kept taking thorough notes. I got hung up taking so many detailed notes on that grape amethyst, got writer's cramp, so decided to quit my note taking and enjoy the remaining show. Planned on going back to watch and take notes, but here came the trivia questions and I couldn't find that little bitty remote to pause the video. Never a loss. I learned so much about amethyst and how to identify its country of origin. Thank you, Shawn. Answer on number 3, which was the countries of origin of that amethyst that you took so many notes about, except the one that told you where it was from. So I showed the big, nice, mounted Uruguayan piece, so you got that part right. But what you mixed up was the origin of the other amethyst, which was the great amethyst, is Indonesia. Sulawesi, Indonesia, as a matter of fact. And why you said Brazil was because that's where the Vivionite's from. The Vivionite is from Brazil. And remember the story about being in the jungle off the tributary. Got to run so I can rewind to learn the answer to the organic question. I do recall you mentioning that when showing one of the specimens, just didn't remember which one. Yep. So again, coloring the halite, like I mentioned, coloring different mineral specimens even. An organic, in this case, something called like I'm not sure of pronunciation, but it was like a quinone. That is a organic item, just like the radiolaria creating mookaite in Australia. Well, this little guy can create the color pink in its organic form. And I'm talking about these are microscopic little things. So, yeah, pink opal gets its color from an organic little creature. Wishing everyone a great week and congrats to the winner. Cheers from your chickenite gal, Miss Karen. Penny and Mahali in Quebec. Hello, Shawn, the very lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew, and fellow rockhounds. I hope this finds well. Trivia. Number 1, rainbow, Irish rainbow, goddess. Peruvian pink opal, and the pink color is from organic matter called quinones. Sounding like that. Uruguay and Indonesia. Thank you for another great show. Faves of the week. Love those amethyst specimens, followed by the large spray of Vivionite. Congratulations, Miss Cindy. Wonderful piece of labradorite. Yeah, I've got a little regret on that one myself. Shawn, when you showcased the second Peruvian opal, I got suspicious that you might ask questions because it was something new. So I went back to the first one and paid more attention and took notes. I knew I wouldn't remember all those formulas off the top of my head. Glad I went back. I did the same with the Iranian demantoids, but no questions on those. It was fascinating to see the photos of the mountains where the demantoids are found. You are probably correct that in the U.S. and here, those mountains would have been dug up in no time. That's it for now. Nothing new to report. Wish everyone a wonderful week and hope to see you next week. Penny and Mahali from Quebec. Yeah, absolutely right. It was actually to see that 5-year before and after, refreshing to not see it, the mountain gouged away in the pursuit of gems. Miss Karen in Texas joins in again. Sorry, seems I have always an afterthought, so here goes me yakking. You mentioned cornfields. My town bordered Indiana and was surrounded by farmers with acres and acres of cornfields. As a teenager, working the cornfields was a big hit. Any eager teenager could earn a few good paychecks working sun up to sundown during their summer breaks, which I did. Mine was an okra field. An okra field. Yep. 13 years old and summer in Sarasota, Florida. And the okra was taller than I. And the only way you can pick that okra is if you wear a long pants, long sleeve shirt. And I'm sure Chuck knows exactly what I'm talking about. I love okra. But if you, and here's the thing. We picked it for a old guy. I mean, and I'm talking about really old, not just old relative to the 13-year-old. He was easily in his 60s or 70s. So we had to be at work at basically just after sunrise. You had to be. You didn't want to be out in the afternoon. It was so hot. I'm going to tell this story because my parents have passed away and they won't hold it against me. That's where I first started drinking beer. This at 13. And this older gentleman, it was like his thing, part of the ritual. It was almost forced on us. Yeah, that's it. Wasn't my fault. It was forced on us. But it was one of those that, yeah, come on. You know, there always is one. If it wasn't him, there would have been someone else. There's always a first guy that does that kind of thing. Sometimes it's a family member. Other times it's a friend. Other times it's a stranger that is your boss in an okra field. And so it did make it more enjoyable. But let me tell you, he would be so angry because okra is one of those giveaways. If you miss one, picking one day, it is obvious the next. It grows so fast, doesn't it, Chuck? It is obvious. And if you pick an okra and it is an inch or two longer than the preferred range, it is hard. It is tough. It is terrible. And it is obvious to the okra farmer that you missed picking one the day before. That's how fast they grow. So yeah, we had to do our job, go down, and we got paid by the bushel with some free beers to go along with it. Yeah. At the time, it seemed so terrible. Looking back, it seems so wonderful. But it was definitely a lesson. I could never bear it now. But if you did not, for those of you that don't know about okra, it has these little spines. It's almost like playing in fiberglass. And it is like, if you get it in your clothes, you have to take your clothes off every day because you put them on the next day. If you don't wash them or anything, you will feel that. It is like having a zillion, and that's a zillion, yeah, splinters poking you every direction. It is, yeah, that's okra. But no, like he said, it is not pleasant. It's kind of like getting poison ivy because you know what? It seems to not go away. It's just not like you can wash it with soap. You know, the more you scrub it, the more you actually get them in further embedded in you, and it's a horrible experience. It's horrible. But I love okra. Nothing like good old southern fried okra in some fatback or bacon grease. Ooh, oh. And Chuck agrees with me. Oh, my chicken night cleaning has come to a complete stop, pause, and hold. I have another trip to the work in the works while this weather is still bearable. In a few months, I'll be back to rock cleaning. I have a few tools such as a textile gun and pressure washer, but I hadn't thought of a steamer. I'll look into that. I believe I have access to one and also an ultraviolet cleaner. Ultraviolet or ultrasonic? There is such a thing as ultraviolet cleaners. They use UV light actually to sterilize food, but we won't go into that. Black light is often used also for sterilizing water through aquariums. And yeah, so, but I think you probably meant ultrasonic cleaner, which works really well for getting down in the grooves that you would never be able to get down into. So, and the pressure, a steam cleaner, a real commercial model, they're not cheap. So if you know someone with one, that would be helpful. Just make sure that you bring the temperature of the piece up slowly, like, take a few seconds so that it adjusts the temperature. If you take something even like quartz and just put it straight underneath that hot, even though quartz can take a good deal of temperature and temperature change, that sudden cold to hot will cause it to crack internally. You don't want that. I like to use iron out more often than oxalic acid because of easier handling. I haven't used the stronger acids, but I've read where they provide good results for material originating from specific mines. And yeah, so the iron out and the oxalic acid, especially the oxalic acid, were the ones I was going to tell you about for removing rust-colored stains on your specimens. There are the full-strength acids. I'll let all of you discover what will work. Just do a little research on that. Those are the kind of things I don't always like to recommend use, just because it needs to come with a lesson of how to properly use them. I often leave the quartz clusters and points natural as I see the beauty with a tint of coloring. When I gift, I soak in acid for clear or bling bling version. One request I have, if I may, and you have time, please forward me the written story that you shared from the Quartz King regarding the Georgia amethyst from the Dewey Mine. I would love to have it in written format to keep along with my specimen, which I have already done to Miss Karen. Until next time, cheers, Miss Karen. Thank you so much for, again, those incredible, incredible specimens. Okay, I think that is it. All right, so we had several winners, and we assign a name to a number and pull a lucky number out of the hat. And this week is Mr. Anthony. Let's show you what you have won. Mr. Anthony, never know. Look at this. And mixed origin emeralds, and this is I can't believe I'm actually giving these away. But look at that. There is a carved emerald leaf. I know that's Latif back there. Latif absolutely giving me a hard time. Rightfully so. But look at that. Look at that carving. You get these in the show, and they're a good bit. Look at that. See that movement. That better not have anything like a cat's eye or a star or something like that. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
It's not the light. It's that other thing moving separately from the light reflecting. Yeah, I don't want to know, or he'll be missing an emerald. Look at this. It's an Indian head. You see that? There is a Indian head with its feather bonnet. Yeah, and look at that in this. I cannot believe I'm giving these away. Latif, you need to run my business for me. I might make something. So these are some neat treasures I had gotten. And look at that. I must be nuts. I can't believe I'm giving that emerald away. I mean, an emerald with inclusions like that, well, that's still a nice emerald. All right. Well, that's enough. Obviously, that should create some envy right there. Okay, let me put this away. I'll be right back. Okay, this is one of those that I wish it was a live audience. All of you are in front of me and could raise your hand as to who knows what this could be. Let me tell you, I have never shown this combination of specimen, and it is from a place that is, well, pretty much good luck getting anything from right now. This is an old item I've had. And again, I'm going to share it. with some lucky person. And I have it because there is something here that belongs to the garnet collection. Now, is it the very garnet looking isometric type shape in those? Or, yeah, look at that. Look at that. That can be a form of garnet in its shape. And then, of course, wow, those look very much like the garnets from the Wushan mine. But then let's look at this darker material. What could this be? You can see it looks like stacked crystals on top, one on top of another. All right, so we're looking at 3 different minerals. Think what they could be in your head before we show them to you, and then see how close you did at getting them right. The only person I know that might have any chance of getting them right, believe it or not, would be Miss Penny. Miss Penny bought a Greek specimen recently from me that was a combination of andradite and this other mineral. Let's show him what it is there, Mr. Latif. Look at that. Yep, Russian. Russian to start with. Good luck getting anything Russian. Hedenbergite. And her specimen had Hedenbergite with it as well. And in this case, this also comes with a older label. And you can see right there, quartz with Hedenbergite on andradite garnet from the Primorsky Krai, Russia. Okay, so you'll get that with it. I'll move this to the side for the moment. Now, look at this piece. You can see the size of it. So it's a nice size, and it is double-sided. Look at that. Look at that. Now, look at these crystals. This, I had to check hardness to make sure that they weren't calcite or something. No, these have a very unique form for quartz. It's like a 6-sided termination. Very unique and unusual. Okay, so as I kept looking at it, and I just recommend definitely having magnification to really enjoy this. And I am going to test Chuck right now. And let me set this down for a minute. Let me clean my very dirty loop, which it always is, because I have shown you quartz with actinolite in it, quartz with rutile in it, quartz with a lot of other different types of inclusions, but I have not shown you quartz with this one. And it is impressive. So let's see. You can see, let me just start off right here and take us in there. Chuck, let's see what we can find inside the quartz. Well, first, I think I maybe need to clean mine. Really, Shawn, is it really that dirty? Hold on. Huh? Yeah, what is, yeah, why was that foggy?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, when you went in, just now it was foggy.
Gotta look at it clean.
Yeah, why is it doing
I
that?
don't know, but on my thing, right?
Yeah, see how it gets hazy around the edge? Okay, well, let's go out a little bit and I'll let my,
Yeah.
this do the talking, baby. Okay, so let me show you in these quartz crystals, and if I can get the right angle on it, let's go back. Well, let's look at here and see what we can see at the top. Let's go right up here. Keep going. Okay. This is phenomenal. Now, yeah, let's see. That's doing something. Maybe we don't need that right at the moment. Okay, look at these. Yeah, it is. I wonder if it's this lens. Is it the lens?
Yeah, I'm not sure it looks foggy.
Yeah, it does look foggy. So iris up or down and see if that makes me. Or come, yeah, go iris down a little more. Oh, made it more foggier. This is clearer. Okay, and now focus. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. I think it's gonna come out. Yeah, okay, we're good now. Yeah, that's gonna be come out. Yeah, the camera's jiggling, but okay, so we've got it good now. All right, so let's look. Look at these little micro golden crystals. Those are tiny, tiny crystals. Uh, beautiful, beautiful little microcrystals. Now, these are actually quartz crystals in a very unusual habit, and they are included with Hedenbergite. And then look at here, you have your classic. Look at that sitting on the outside of that. And then you have one crystal stacked on top of another, which is indicative of the way they form in this particular locality. Now, look down this and you can see again all these little micro thread crystals, and then look at this from the side. Look at the clarity and look into that. Now, I'm going to show you, you can see that there's actually crystals in there when the focal plane reaches that point. This is amazing. Look at these beautiful, beautiful garnets. Spessartine, well, andradite in this case, which is really unusual to get androdites in that color range, but that's how they fall. Look at these crystals, and then look at the quartz is so heavily included with the Hedenbergite. It's difficult to see what's what, but when you look really close, look at the little micro needles. Now, let me see again. My
on the program one over here, it's clear.
it is clear. Oh, I do see that on the program one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use that because
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Let me show you. Here, look at all those little micro crystals on that. Then look at the quartz and the inclusions in the quartz. That is really inside. You're right. We've never have been that close. No. No, with that new lens, yeah, that's insane. We have to be, yeah, we have to be pushing, 60 times magnification on that. And now it makes me want to show you the other side. So follow my loop. Maybe I'll give you more light here if I have to. Right down here, yeah, all these little micro crystals. And as you go through the different focal planes, so you can cover, that's just it. Also, there's a bigger, wider area of in focus, so it's got a better depth of field as well. Look at those crystals up there. Yeah, we've never been able to be in with that kind of clarity. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So those crystals, you can see the other inclusions in them. And that's just not here. I am going to show you something really pretty that I saw on this, if I can find it again. But meanwhile, let me just take a random trip right down here and show you these. Look at those. Look at the way they're stacked. For quartz, I have just never really seen that habit, that form, and why I had to hardness test it, thinking it was calcite. Look at that. They're like terminated, 6 sides and terminated to a point, unlike the, see, right there, look at that. Right, there we go, here we go, there. Yep, right there. If you continue on around, you're going to see that it is a hexagon, but unlike regular quartz, you have all these equally, almost like it was faceted, equal point faces coming up to where it comes to a center, which is unlike quartz. Remember, quartz usually has a big face that going off to one side for the termination, unlike these. Now, look at the way the Hedenbergite, you can see it, is included in the quartz. And that makes it additionally really attractive. This is a phenomenal and unique specimen all the way around. There is so many. Look at, so that is a some type of white mineral there. Look at the growths on top. So it's multi-generational. And wow, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that, Latif. Look at the focus across there. Look at the depth of field of the focus. Okay, here we go. Look at how incredibly minute the hairs on these are. So be careful cleaning the specimen. If you didn't loop it or know ahead of time that these were had all kinds of small crystals involved with them, you might take a brush and go right across it and damage some of them. So make sure you always check your specimen first for those type of issues. Now, there is some of the quartz crystals, yeah, with some phenomenal inclusions of the Hedenbergite in them. And it's a matter of looking at them. Look at that. Oh, here, look at that. That is almost like a, look at the multiple crystals on here. And I'm not so sure that there isn't some other minerals involved in this that I'm missing as well. Look at that stacked growth. And so all these are formed around the base of it as well. This is an old time treasure that I have hung on to. And, you know, because of the garnets, it's part of my collection, having those rare Russian androdites. And it is a unique color in the androdite family. I want to look right in that one. And let's see what we can see. Okay, and then let me get some more light on that. And let me see what angle. There we go. There we go. And look at that. We are showing you an inclusion of the androdite inside. Let me see if we find my poker here. Right inside the quartz. And I'm glad I'm not a surgeon. Oh, here we go. There it is. Okay, so right in here, right in that crystal, you can see that little orange speck right inside that one. And that's incredible to be able to bring that to you. Let me see. I'm just playing around here. Now, let me look one more time because there is a particular crystal I found that had some, I guess you can come away from it a little bit. There we go. So we get the focus up. That has some, look at this. Okay, so when you see the piece as a whole, you don't really appreciate it until you look closer and look at the detail on formation of the entire piece. That those darker quartz items are actually full of Hedenbergite. And then there is others that just have a few wisps of the Hedenbergite in them. Maybe it's that one. Maybe it's that one I've been looking for. That is a classic type of inclusion in quartz that shows off the Hedenbergite. I just need a third hand here to hold all this steady. Wait 1 second. Follow me. And then, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that spray. Hold on. Oh, my goodness. I see a spray. Huh, that's interesting. Where is the light? Where's my light? There we go. Look at that. Look at that huge crystal on that. That's cool. That's cool. Hang on. Let me see if I can. I know. I got to do lots to do. Hold on. But this is a special piece. And right there, look at that. Look at that crystal on there. And then inside this crystal, there is Hedenbergite sprays. And then look at the little golden sprays right up there. Right up there. Whoops. All right. That's amazing. That is an amazing work of Mother Nature. Extremely rare. It is from Russia and from a very unusual location in Russia. This is a piece that in an auction environment would just be expensive. Again, the origin being Russia that it is, that makes a difference. I am going to offer this at a phenomenal opportunity. It is from a place I won't even try to pronounce, but it is the go-to place for this type of specimen. Only $148. Only $148. And you can be the proud owner of something extremely rare. Now, here we go. Sticking with the garnet family, let's look at item 1257825. 1257825. And this is one of those, again, the mine's not producing anymore. What's out there is what's out there, and it is hard to find. Look at this. Of course, member of the garnet family. Therefore, of course, I would have some of these. I have been offering and letting a few of these go from time to time. All of you have been scooping them up, including some of the museum quality ones that I have offered. Well, here is a very affordable one. This is a beautiful mandarin color. Now, let me show you. Double-sided. This I'll actually, straight from my cheapskate cell phone, the stands, I'll include one of these folding stands with it. You can adjust it. Look at this. And double-sided. So it is, look at it. Okay, so let me show you again. Here's where we started. And wow, look at that. You have a huge, large crystal down here. And wow. Isn't that beautiful, Chuck? That is just,
Orange is my favorite.
Oh, orange is? Yeah. Favorite? Yeah, absolutely. That is exciting. And for the look, being double-sided, and that would be a amazing piece in anybody's showcase. Spessartine, of course, is a manganese garnet, and it is not to be, now use spessartine, do not use spessartite. Spessartite is actually a lamprophore. A lamprophore is more of a hydrous silicate igneous rock type of rock. Both have been named after the Spessart Mountains in Germany, but spessartine is the garnet, the gem variety. Now, a lot of people still use spessartite, but that would be incorrect. The correct term is spessartine for that, just like celestine, not celestite. So some things people still need to get out of the old habits and back into the new. So mandarin garnet being one of the most valuable garnets there is, this is a stunning double-sided specimen that I am offering it, and this is another quarter for a nickel type of opportunity for you. $168. Only $168 on that. Take advantage of it. Now, oh man, let's keep going. I am behind the times here with what I have to do, with what I have to show. Oh, wow. Okay, ready for this? Item number 1257925. 1257925. Now, I have sold sphene crystals. I remember one, it must have been 6 inches long by like 3 inches. I think it was around 1,400 carats. I don't know, maybe more than that. This locality produces some of the most stunning sphenes there are. The Ankarafa claim, take a look. Take a look at this. You've never seen this piece before. I've never shown it before. It's been in my own collection, and I have, which, you know, both Raven and I love sphene. But again, I decided it's time. I'm going to share it. Look, there's lots to look at. For one, the stunning quartz crystals. It is the way, where, and how the quartz crystals form and stop that make it super unique. Okay, look at this one. Look at this. So it has itself wrapped up with this sphene crystal, ends up just having to stop right there. As we further explore, you can see that, look at this quartz, okay? You see how it's tiny at the top like that, but as it goes to the base, you can see the 6 sides to the base of it. Isn't that different? Then look at this. Look at this quartz crystal. So it grew, came up, and then did something right there and stopped. I don't even know what it was trying to do, but it quit. Look at this one. Look at this one. Forming from here, didn't make contact, and stopped. Look at this one down there. These quartz crystals are magnificent when you explore each one. Like I said, find where they stop, find where they start, and you're going to get bizarre terminations like right there. I'm not even looking at the sphenes. I'm looking at the quartz. Okay, look at this one. So this one has a flat termination. It just stopped. It's not broken. It just stopped growing. Look at that. And that. These have a different habit all their own that I am not really familiar with. Like, look at this. I saw another one earlier where it graduates almost in the opposite direction, making it kind of like a scepter. If you just a little bit that'll, and then here we go. This is what I wanted to show you, this part as well. Now, look at those metallic type crystals in there, and hematite. I think they are hematite. I saw a hematite forms hexagonally, and I think I saw a vacant one of these places where the hematite had etched out or dissolved out. You can see there's still crystal around here, and left a 6-sided impression of it. You can see how that would happen. So yeah, and hematite forms with these as well. Now, remember, hematite is a iron oxide, and can be found in this type of environment. Then the quartz. Okay, so now let's look at the sphene. You have some amazing sphenes. Some have been broken off because of the pocket. They were limited probably by the size of the pocket. I still can't get over how these quartz crystals have started and just oddly stopped. But then now that we're looking at the sphenes, look at how beautiful some of these sphenes are. And then look at the clarity. Look at the clarity of that one. You can see right through that one. Really fascinating. Now, this is, you have albite. Let me show you. Here is albite, which is a type of feldspar. So if you look closely, you can see little tiny kind of monoclinic shaped crystals. There's also, well, it's a little botryoidal looking crystal there. No telling what other things you can find on this. I did not look at it for everything. I spotted the silvers for figured out. Oh, here's the other one, epidote. I'm glad I came across it, so you can find all of them for yourself now that you know what they're looking for. This deeper green color, epidote. Now, epidote is also where you have an iron source for the hematite. You have epidote here. You have little sprays of epidote. Look at the clarity of that spleen. And you will notice those. Wow, look at that metallic inclusion right there. Golly, this is just a whole bunch of fun. Look at these little crystals up there. And could be so. Look at this. Look at this. Back in these little places. Okay, down in there, there's some albite for you. Right down in there being protected. That is a, let's see, put some light in there if we can get it. Wow, look at that. That's a little honey hole of, look at that. Now that's where I want to curl up, as Miss Karen said, and take a little nap right down in there. Look at that. How pretty is that? So, yeah, look at that. Beautiful sphene crystals. There is lots to be found. Okay, now I'll show this in my hand to you so you get an idea of the size. Oh yeah, also, you have all kinds of other sphene crystals along here. Some epidote. That's a beautiful, beautiful specimen. Put a actual sphene on top of it for display, and you have something pretty cool. That shows really pretty at several different angles there, and I love sphene. I love sphene. Price on this, you're not gonna believe it, only $98. Only $98, 98 lonely only dollars. Now, I am going to show you one of the rarest things I have ever shown you. You're not going to believe this. Item number 1257725. 1257725. You are not going to believe this. Okay. This is something that is not going to be mined anymore. They're not mined anymore. It is a nodule. This is a nodule from a North Carolina ruby deposit it's an old deposit, going way back, known as the Belt Bridge deposit in Iredell County. Now, it's along the river, the south bank of the South Yadkin River, a few miles down from a town. So, you know, in my mind, oh, I just can take my boat, go along the river, dig some of these out. No, not that easy. Let me show you the piece first, though. This is what it looked like on the outside. How many of you seeing this on the bank of a river would just walk right past it? Pretty much most all of us, I think, including myself, because remember, it's going to be muddy. You're not going to notice what it is. Yeah? You think you might know? Yeah. I would pick it up and I'd throw it at the, you know, say, oh, that's nice. Oh, throw that a long way. You know, try to stone some fish with it or what. And let me show you what you would have been stoning that fish with. Yeah, how about this? A big fat ruby in the middle. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is remarkable. And if you love fluorescence, I'm going to try this again just because that's what I do. Hold on. Hold on. No, it's so chrome red. It's unbelievable. So unless you can make that red, this has a stunning reaction to the chromium in it and will glow a beautiful red. Okay, let me tell you. Yeah. This is made up of a type of mineral none of you will have had, you don't have, and you're going to learn about it right now. Just like, remember the foytite I talked to you about and told you about and taught you how it is a vacancy dominant type of rare tourmaline that is from Morongo? Foytite, yeah. Well, how about this one? Margarite. Margarite. How many of you have ever heard of margarite? It is a very, very rare type of mica that belongs to a group of mica called the brittle mica group. I kid you not, the brittle mica group. And if you, one of the other members that you might be familiar with, because I have sold some of these to all of you, and it is called clintonite. It's blue. It's a blue mineral called clintonite, and it is part of the brittle mica family. Here is the deal. Margarite, and this is why I have to stop at certain points in my level of professorial language that I use, because the actual thing that's going on, that why it's a brittle mica, is due to divalent inner layer cations. Okay? That's all. So when I ask that on your test, just, make me proud and get that one right. Divalent inner layer cations that also require the substitution of aluminum for silicon. And that changes it from a elastic type of mica to brittle. I don't know if you noticed, but when I peeled those layers of mica off that big piece of mica I found, you can actually bend those thin sheets of mica. That is the elasticity of it. You can actually curve it, right? Brittle mica, you can't. Brittle mica, it will just snap off. And so Frederick Mohs of the Mohs hardness scale of fame in 1821 named it first pearl mica. And look at this. You can see the pearlescence to the surface and also to this edge right here. And there we go. There we go. Thank you. Perfect. You see that pearlescence? That is why Frederick Mohs first called this pearl mica. Now, if you think you're seeing a white rim and then an additional green rim of another mineral, it does appear that way. But when we look closely at this, you'll see that the white just morphs into the green. The white, see how that's a perfect day. Look at that pearlescence. That's capturing the pearlescence perfectly. So you can see it's the same mineral. It just changes just a very little bit in its composition, because the outside is exposed to weathering, to oxidation, to other minerals, which can affect, just like the rind of a jade boulder, the outer part, that is where you can get your butterscotch and some of your other unique colors, is the outer rind of a specimen, because it's exposed to oxidation and other minerals where the inner part isn't. But when you look at this, you can see it's just one mineral morphing into the other with a slightly different color. So don't think there's two different minerals. This is all margarite. And how perfect the pearl look, the pearlescent look is to it. Okay, now you can see also how it flares away. Here's a perfect view where you can see that the same blade just changes into a darker green. Now, Frederick Mohs in 1821 proposed the name pearl mica. The current name by Johann von Fuchs. Now, yes, see, these names all of you are familiar with by now. That is why there's a method to my madness. If you started off with taking Shawn's 101 class 7.5 years ago, you're now up to 102, and you're coming right along. There's so much to learn and understand. You've come so far. You're really way up there in your level of understanding and education, I hope. So now, von Fuchs, if that sounds familiar, yes, of Fuchsite fame, depending on how you want to pronounce it. You always have to be really careful with that guy's name. A lot of people used to pronounce it Fuchsite, just because, well, even that one you had to be careful with what it sounded, but that's not his name. His name is actually Fuchs. Fuchs. So if you add the "ite" to it, it's Fuchsite. And so that is your mica that often has some greenish tints and whatnot to it. So Johann von Fuchs, he came up with the name that is used now because apparently, and we could ask Miss Penny, the Greek word for pearl, and this is in 1813, must be margar or something, margarite, because margarite is apparently the Greek word somehow is in there, the root. So tell us that, Miss Penny. What is the root? What are we looking for here out of that name that would tell us the word pearl, the Greek word for pearl? Now, I would love to just take my boat on the south bank of the South Yadkin River and pull up to it and dig some of these out. That's not the case. This is a 100-year-old deposit. There's not any left. These are almost impossible, if not near impossible. I have had this for a long, long time. Long, long time. I actually did not have it, the origin correct on this. And then in my research on something else, I came across margarite. And once I saw it, I said, bingo, I have one of those. And absolutely, without a doubt, and you can look into Mindat, this is a extremely rare nodule. Margarite is a calcium aluminum mica, but so are a lot of others. And it is a very rare type of mica. And then for it to form around a large ruby crystal is just a level of rarity you just do not find, you cannot find. You can go to 100 shows. You can go to Tucson and you will not find one of these. No. Shawn has one. Yep. I have one. But after collecting for 54 years, there's no telling what I have. I have things I don't even know I have. I have bought countless number of estates without ever looking at them. I don't have time to go through everybody's boxes of rock. I throw a price out, I haul it in. It may be a decade before I ever get to it. You should see the boxes and the cartons and the unopened items I have had. You know, maybe I opened something up 10 years ago, put it back in the box, put it away. That's why 40,500 items later in 7.5 years, I am still selling down my collection. Hurts every time, especially one like this. If anyone gets it, I'd love to know who gets this. You can see just how unique and rare this is. Capturing, you know, Chuck capturing the pearlescence perfectly. So you can see that's what I was shooting for. And that's exactly the look we have. This is a monster size. And from the other ones I saw, this is a natural, someone broke this nodule naturally. That is what you want. As opposed to taking a diamond saw and going through it. Who wants to see an unnatural flat saw? And then what happens? Because I saw one other like this. It sawed the ruby flat across. That doesn't look natural. We have the natural crystal sides. And let me show you how you can tell that this is complete. Okay, so the only part, the face that doesn't reflect, okay, see all these other, they're reflective faces, meaning they're portions of the crystal. You think, oh, well, that piece is missing. No, it is exactly the way nature left it. You know how you can tell? Because of the white growth over it. This is a secondary growth of margarite over the face of this, as, you know, if the other side was here. So there is nothing. This is a complete, look at that. See how that reflection across the whole face? Let me do that. Oh, that across this one, boom. See that? Nothing missing. Nothing missing from that one either because of, you can actually see how flat that is and you have the marguerite growing over it. So you have a, look at that complete crystal here. This is on a level of rare. This is North Carolina. This is not India. This is not a ruby producing, from a ruby producing area. This is from Iredell County in an old occurrence called the Belt Bridge occurrence. It's probably one of my rarest pieces I've ever had. Maybe not always the most valuable. It is certainly the most rare. And at an opportunity pricing, it's a ruby. well below. That up in auction, if you wanted to, it's a money maker. I am offering that for only $278. $278. And, it's one of those that if it sold, I'd regret it, but I'd love it also for it to go to a home that deserves it. Let me show it in my hand one more time and show you just how large this is as a nodule. Do your research on it, and you will have a mineral you didn't even have before and didn't even know it existed. This is one of those that I love to display like this and fool people. And they think, oh, that's just a rock. Yep. And then when you throw it out into the lake to scare a duck, and then someone comes up and shows you one like it and shows you what was inside of it. And all of a sudden you take up scuba diving. I certainly would. This is phenomenal, phenomenal. So I'll leave you with that. Take a great screenshot of that. That is a bargain, a bargain. Okay, that was worth taking a moment for. I need to get going here big time. And I'm just going to keep going. They're going to have to throw me out of here today. Item number 119-8224. 119-8224. And it seems like maybe we're specializing a little bit on garnets. Well, maybe we should, since it is my birthstone. Now, let me show you. Now, that's a garnet. If you've ever seen Crocodile Dundee, you'll understand that line. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the size of that. Look at the size of that. That is a euhedral, meaning well-formed crystal of, it's Italian. It's from the Sieber Valley, South Tyrol. Now, I say polished. It is, the surface is, you can see it's not been flattened and polished like they do quartz. I think the surface has, here is how I can tell, just been lightly finished off, put it that way. If it would have had some muscovite or some type of mica schist on it, I think some of that has been cleaned off, as you can see some of it. Other than that, it is basically follows just the natural faces, and it gives you a gorgeous, huge look. Now, I gave to take home, Chuck, for corduroy, a garnet schist. Do you have that piece right there with you close? So I want to show you. This also is considered a garnet mica schist. So let me show you the difference. If I had this size garnet growing in my backyard, and we do. We actually each have our deposit, so we wouldn't fight over it. Luckily, Raven found a garnet schist deposit on her side of the house, and I found a much better one, especially I had my tractor, I could dig mine up easier, that I didn't help her with. So she's so competitive. When it comes to mining, I would love to have pulled out a big garnet like this. I should have fooled her. I should put this in the ground and make like I found it. Oh, that'd be fun. That would be funny. Oh, she'd get such a pouty face. She's like that. And yeah, because this is how big hers would be. Her garnet, Shawn's garnet. So this is for the backyard. That's not bad. You can see the impression where another one was. Look at all these little ones. Isn't that pretty cool? It is cool. You can actually pop these out. You can actually, if you didn't tell Corduroy, he'll come back and this will be in pieces, and he will have dug them all out. But that's okay. Look at all these garnets. So this is a great piece. It was one of his rocks on his list, I think, was a mica schist. So I wanted him to have that. But you can really see the difference in a mica schist. You can see they're both mica schist. The only difference is the size of the garnet. Thank you for that, sir. Okay, so if you want to add something to your collection, here is a big, big, big impressive look. And I'm going to make it a really good value. So how about this? Big time sale price, only $48. Only $48. I hope someone takes advantage of it for that. It is my birthstone. And if you want, you can let me know who the lucky person is that got that one, because that is a impressive look indeed. Now, let me show you. I have, wow. Okay. I am going to take the time to show something. Okay, let me get this put away, and I'm going to come back with a gem that I have never shown you before. You're familiar with it, but I've never featured one. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. I thought it was time to bring out a complicated, stunning classic. The 79 mine from Arizona. This is part of my Made in America collection. And this is from one of Arizona's great mines. It was closed altogether in 1992. So specimens coming from there are estate specimens. They're older specimens. Just wonderful, wonderful treasures from times past. Now, what stands out to you when you first look at this? Well, I know for me, the first thing I saw was green. Green. Okay, so where's that green coming from? Well, we know gem silica, the green and blues come from the copper ions coming from chrysocolla. Well, we have chrysocolla in this piece. So we have basically quartz that has been turned green by the copper ions in the surrounding minerals. Look at this as I turn it, and you get to start seeing everything. Look at the malachite. Look at the malachite right here. Okay, so you see fibrous malachite. So, of course, that's a copper mineral. A nice crystal shape there. What is that? That almost looks like fluorite, but I would say in a, it's just the green coming through. Oh, no. What is right there? That looks like, oh, there is so much to explore. Okay, I'm seeing it now, right now. There it is, right tucked behind there. That's cerussite. That is a cerussite. That is your lead carbonate. This looks like a cerussite also, nestled around that malachite. Look at these, okay, hematite stained quartz crystals. Just like we talk about the tangerine quartz, this is basically what it is. It's quartz crystals with hematite covering. But then look, you have another generation of stained quartz by basically almost a gem silica. It is quartz silica stained greenish by copper ions. And as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the termination on this one particular crystal. It's got a beautiful classic sidecar right there for another one. And as we look at this, we've only covered a little area. There is beauty and uniqueness on every millimeter of this piece. Look at that tucked away down in there. You can see, count the sides. 1, 2. So that's a crystal. You can see that's a crystal. Crystal of what? Not exactly sure. It looks like it's a phyllosilicate, like there's layers, so there could be maybe a mica underneath something there. I don't know. That is left for whoever to do some of your homework. And you can see how I actually wind up spending like a piece on this, an hour at least, in getting as far as I do, as far as figuring out what is going on and what is what. It looks like we have a nice quartz base there. As we turn this around, look at that lovely colors of green. And here is, you can actually see you have an outer layer over quartz, but the quartz looks already colored like a smoky quartz from something else. So, you know, which is created by aluminum impurities in the smoky quartz. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, now I see this crystal, and I'm trying to look for the 6 sides as if it's quartz. I don't really see, maybe, and then the termination. What a unique form that is. Now, look at the little, look at this. You have, this is chrysocolla. So what you see, this light green, That is a layer of chrysocolla. Look at this. It is phenomenal how unique. Look at that. There's that crystal. Now, I'd say poking out, but more like it's not. It was there. And then all this other layer of quartz grew over all of these other crystals. And you have multi-generational, multi-layers. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. I see crystals down in this one. And let me see if I can bring up any other light behind it. If I can get my, there we go. There we go. Now let's see if Chuck can focus through there and see if we can find anything, or maybe it was something that's back behind it. Yeah, look at that. So you can see the other lighter colors. They're the ones reflecting the other whatever else is in there. And see the little light colors. That is different. See, this is when you play with your minerals and get them out and just enjoy looking at them from every different angle. Oops, that was me cutting the light off. And understanding exactly what all is going on. And let me, as I turn it this way, let's come out away a little bit on it so we can get a little bit bigger view. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. I'm telling you. Is this a cerussite? Could be right up here on top of everything else. And then, okay, see these little darker green specks? They're malachite. Malachite specks. Look at that beautiful quartz shooting out of it. And of course, so all this powdery greenish color, that's all druzy chrysocolla with malachite and the 79 mine. The world, let's go right up here a minute. I thought I saw something. I did see a web right there. It looks like there is maybe some inclusions in the quartz. Oh, look at this. This is some of that, you know, really green quartz. Praise, they call it. Especially when you have a crystal like that. Now, I'm looking at that crystal, and you would normally think it's quartz first. I don't think that's the case in this one. That could very well be a cerussite with malachite internal inclusion. Wow. Wow. There's all I have to say to that. And then let's go ahead, as we come away from it a little bit, and take a full look at it, because we didn't cover it all, because we haven't even covered down and around the base of it. Look at that. Look at this. Oh. Okay, so we have everything from quartz, maybe some cerussite in there. Look at these other crystals. Lots to explore. The world famous 79 mine. And I'm telling you, this one specimen pretty much takes in most of the primary minerals that the 79 mine had to offer. And when you have this type of look with that type of crystal, perfect termination, no damage, you have a real treasure here. I certainly have enjoyed it, and there's much more left for somebody to discover in that piece. Look how deep that thing is. Okay, so I had offered this one time before in the live show that I had done quite a while back with Asif, I think. Anyway, have not offered it in quite some time. I am going to do this at a sale opportunity, and I probably will regret it, because if with everything going on with that type of piece, and if this was put into an auction with all the bells and whistles that could be talked about in a flowery language like I know a top auction house uses, you're looking at $500, $600, $700 would be a very real practical value. $148. $148, and you will have something no one else will from one of the renowned mines of the Great West. Now, let me show you. I have next for you item number 119-8724. 119-8724. Here is stunning hemimorphite. Now, hemimorphite, look at that. Look at that. That is what you want to see when you're talking about your neon blues. And there we go, sits on its own. I love it like that. That means I save the money of a stand. No, it's always prettier self-displayed. Okay, so the wet look. Now you got to make sure that the wet look is a natural wet look, not a wet look from soft sheen or oils or anything else. This is a natural wet look, very desirable. It's a something that does occur naturally. So hemimorphite is a zinc silicate, a hydrated zinc silicate. So it's got a water content, hardness of 4.5 to 5. It's orthorhombic. Now, the Ahuela mine, buyer beware. Not in the botryoidal form, but when you have individual hemimorphite crystals, which I've sold specimens where they're like a clearish white, they have figured out how to dye them. So I'm just doing that as a buyer beware consumer warning when it comes to mineral specimens, because I feel like that's my role also, is to alert people to those. So coming out of the Ahuela mine or any mine, when you're looking at specimens, crystal specimens, they tend to be able to absorb a particular type of blue dye that's hard to assess. So just it doesn't, not with the botryoidal ones like this. That's not where the worry is, but the ones with the clear white crystal. So I wanted to give you that consumer warning there on hemimorphite and the fake ones in the market. This one, the Shawn mine in Yunnan, China. Well, guess what? What else have you heard from the Shawn mine? Or is that the Wushan mine? See? A couple letters, a little bit different sound. Completely different mine. The Wushan mine, of course, produces the spessartine. Look at the hemimorphite. So it comes with a label from the Shawn. You'll get the label with it. And here is the rest of the information right there, just like what is up there. The nice wet look with the label, Shawn mine. Now, that blue is intense. Look at all those little pockets. Look at the green. Look at the green in there too. Oh, how neat is that? Huh. That is something I didn't look very closely at. I did not make notice of that before, I don't think. It could certainly be just hemimorphite as well. Look, this is as showy to me on the back like that as the front. Yeah, don't you? As we come away from that a little bit, yeah, I think that intermingling of the botryoidal with the matrix, that's just as attractive as that. It really is. I guess I should do it that way. I never really liked it that way, but dare to be different. Price on this one, you're not going to believe it. $58. Only $58, and you can have a ooh la la look, because that is what it is. That will stand out in your cabinet and be noticed. Now, let's say you like to collect your zinc silicates. Let's take a look at item 124-8625. 124-8625. And maybe you want to step up the size a little bit. Well, look at this. Here is another hemimorphite. Now look at the difference. You can see, of course, besides the color, but the sparkliness of it, the glittering nature of this. And it is more of a robin's egg blue. A robin's egg blue versus a neon type of blue. It comes from the same mine. So, you see how I segued to that? Because now we know that this little green line in here is right along the same line of color as this for the most part. So that probably pretty much answers what the green line is and why I showed that first. I actually, there's method to my madness. So let's see if I can save money on a stand. Look at that. I save another buck. Stands up on its own. That is really neat. And you can get whatever stand. Look at that. So display it as you want. Sometimes stands can make them look, more attractive aesthetically or not. But that is up to you. You can not use one. Let's go in right here. What are these little guys? We'll do that one time and watch it. Look at that camera. Oh my goodness. I am in love with that camera. What in the world are those? Those are definitely another mineral down there. I couldn't tell you right now what it is. And what are those neat little things? This is how you learn. You guys do what I do. You just go to Smithsonite. You know the location. You can look up the mine and look up all the available minerals that are mined at that particular mine and associated with the hemimorphite. Then start ruling them out. What it could be, what it isn't, what it is. Maybe it's just matrix, but that is the tool that Mendet can give you that kind of information. Okay, price on this. This is sale priced in a huge way. A huge way. I am going to very desirable piece. It has a lot of value to it, but I'm going to discount it. I am going to discount it big time. I'll make it only $118 as my voice quivers. Yeah, that's really inexpensive. So do take advantage of that opportunity. That's a fantastic specimen for you. Just a fantastic piece. Now, let's see. What next fantastic piece am I going? Oh, there is so many good. Okay. Here, let's do this. Okay, to give you choices. Item number 1248825. 1248825. And since we're speaking about Chinese minerals, here we go. So remember, one from the Wenshan mine, right? So we have one from the Wenshan mine. The right there, you see that? That was the neon blue one. And then this one coming up is from the Wushan mine. And I said that there was a difference. And there is. Look at this specimen. Oh my goodness. That is Chinese spessartine from what's known as the Wushan spessartine mine. And wow, look at the size of those crystals. And as we look, let me get my poker. This one, look at these. Look at those crystals on that smoky quartz. Look at how large. Oh, this also has, see those striations like that? That is a classic look. Very desirable. Look at the size of that one crystal compared to the tip. Okay, look at it from one side to the other. That is a monstrous size crystal. And of course, it would facet a stone out of that. When you get to looking at all these, the clarity, and looking close, you can see some are just sitting on top and smothering a smoky quartz. Look at the size of that one. This is a beauty. It has some internal crystals. And another piece that you could spend a long time looking at. What is right there? Phenomenal. Phenomenal. And as we come back away from it a little bit, you can see in my hand just how big it is. Look at that. The difference, okay, is in the size of the crystals. And a lot of people, here we go. Here's the one I showed you earlier. That is and look at the difference in the color. So this is like a mandarin color. A lot of people still call that in the mandarin range. And it would be, and it is, until you compare it to that, then of course you see this is more the Fanta orange color that so many people like. But so many people also like the larger crystals, which this dominates by way of size compared to this one. And that is often a big draw. So let's see the back. You see some more quartz here. That is an impressive piece. I like that one covered all up. That is a impressive. Yeah, I like that right there. That displays really well right there. With the big crystals, it's worth a lot more in the market, the way the market deems value many times. But you know what? I don't know why I would do this, but I'm going to sale price this piece. I am going to sale price it. I want to put it in someone's hands, and that would make then this one only $228. Only $228 for large crystal. Again, items like that in auction, the price is skyrockets, just skyrockets. Okay, now, item number 124-5025. 124-5025. Let me show you as part of our ongoing garnet display. Look at this. This is, you've seen it before, so that means I'm going to sale price it. Look at that. You should know where that's from. That is that incredible. I'll say it a few times, and then I'll say the price 4 or 5 times, and then you'll think it's someone else hosting. Look at this. Look at that. Demantoid line. Demantoid garnet from the Green Dragon mine, which is one of the mines on the farm to buses number 22. And so that's a big property, has several different mines on it. And the Green Dragon mine is one of them. Now, here is the neat thing about this particular specimen. I don't actually have it even listed, but you see there's other crystals on this. There's other crystals. And what are they? I should make that one of my trivia questions. I'm wondering if that would be too hard. I have told you the associations before. And so I wonder. But look at how well formed this is. Now, this piece in an auction by a well-known auction house for minerals. Let's put that right there so you can really see the actual color. This size, it would, you'd be blown away by how much this would actually end up selling for in an auction. It has everything positive going for it. The beautiful shape to the crystal, the color, the intensity, and that light green material, I believe to be, it is diopside. Diopside. Look at that. Looks like a little snowman almost. Yeah, it does. Oh, that is a jewel. And that is one that actually I should have wire wrapped. I'm thinking, I'm putting together some items for Andrew, so if any of you want anything wire wrapped that you can think of, let me know. And actually, if this one doesn't sell, I am going to go ahead and have that wire wrapped into something. I think it would lend itself pretty well in a piece. So here's the last shot to get it without it being in a piece of jewelry, and at 5.66 carats. And I don't know why I would even sale price this, but I'll go ahead and do it. I'll offer it. Last chance opportunity. If anybody wants it for only $98, $98. That is a phenomenal opportunity. All right. Now. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We have some, oh, yeah, great pieces here. Okay. You hadn't seen this before. Oh, wait. I got this. Okay. Hold on. I have to get to, where is it? Before, here it is. Okay, you're not going to believe it. I'm going to go ahead and take the time and show this now. This is the piece you're wondering. Well, he said he was going to show something he's never shown before. Okay, don't. I'm going to give you the item number, but don't pull up the item info yet, please. Let's see. Item number 125 8225. 125 8225. I'm curious to know before I show it or pull up the info if anyone might have any idea what this might be. I'm going to put it against the white so you can see the actual color. Look at that. Look at that. Look at how long that is. It is a completely natural crystal. It is, as you look down the end of it, great job on the camera work, 6 sides. Let's look at the clarity. This is what really adds the value. Look at, okay, if you look at it like that, you can't really tell. But no, there's a little sliver or cleavage actually out of it. Look at the clarity. Look at the clarity. And as you follow that all the way up until you can't really tell, it is completely facet gray. Facet gray. Look at that. This material often has inclusions in it. It's very rare to find a stone. It's not. Almost all the stones I saw that were faceted and being offered in this gem were clear. The only one, they claimed it had a light green tint to it, light green. And the price was 5 times the price. And we're all talking about stones that are around a half a carat, not big stones. They don't cut big stones. They're really not available in this material. 5 times for having just what they deemed. I couldn't barely discern the green, but that's all it took to make a big difference. The blue is the most desirable color that this is. Now, I'm going to keep giving you hints until I want to know if anybody actually comes up with what this might be. The world's most famous location for this to be found is Namibia. This is a very rare type of gem. It has made, look at that color. Look at that. Look at the clarity. It has made the top 10 rarest gems in the world many times, and it's probably in that list still now. So there's another clue for you. This is very long. They're not found in clusters very often, and they're not found in matrix. These are mostly found loose. Here's the other really important part is the termination. Look at the point. This is a perfect termination, so there's no damage or chipping to it. And you can see again the clarity here, maybe a little bit more inclusions than the other end, but what a gem. It's 4.41 carats, and look at how long that is. It could be wire wrapped. It could be made into something, but I don't know. I think just having that as a leaf stone. Also, most of the stones have a graduated bicolor nature to them. So most will have a blue, and they always have a blue base graduating to a clear to white top. Sometimes they're all the same color, but not always. More often than not, this is how you see it: a graduated from blue to clear white. Let's go in one more time on this part because this makes the difference in value. The color blue and that clarity. Let me see if you can actually. Yeah, see the tweezers behind there? That really shows you. Okay, so if you have something in mind, get ready. I'm getting ready to drop the real answer behind door number 1, a crystal I have never offered for sale before. Show them what it is there, Mr. Lateef. I did, but now it's time to pull it up. Look at that. Now, I should say, who can pronounce the word? Now, yeah, this is where most people get it wrong. Okay, so remember the origins of Namibia is Dutch. So you will have different words with different meanings. But this was actually found by a Russian. And that is where you get the funny name because its type locality, in other words, where it was first discovered, was not Namibia. So Pavel, ready? Here is the name and how you pronounce it. The J sounds like a Y, except you almost say a little bit of the J. It's really tricky. So, and who told me were the owners of the Green Dragon mine. One year, years ago, I bought a lot of their crystals from them. And so we had a long conversation about the Namibian minerals and whatnot. And they had some of this. They had some. And I was tempted to buy some, but I'd already bought up a lot of the demantoid. So we had a discussion. So it's Yermayevite. Yermayevite. You can also say with a little bit of the sound of the J, like Yermayevite. Yermayevite. That is the actual, probably correct spelling as far as I know. Yermayevite. But you cannot. So, out of interest, I went and Googled the pronunciation. The first one they had was Yermayevite with the hard J, which is absolutely the wrong. That is the way you can tell you're a greenhorn. If you go to a gem show and you, can I see that Yermayevite? Yeah, exactly. They're not going to show it to you because they know you're just a greenhorn and you don't know what you're looking at or talking about. So, no. So you have to know how to pronounce minerals correctly is the first step. So to say it with a Y is just fine. You don't have to get that fancy little ink. I took years trying to get that right. And the key is not to say the hard J. So it's Yermayevite or Yermayevite. That is the second way I said it is really the correct way. But when you go to listen to the pronunciations, it is pronounced every different way. So, and these are the people that are supposed to know how to pronounce it. And again, the first thing was Yermayevite. No, that is the big no-no. So therefore, it told me that you can't believe everything that you hear or that is pronounced. Okay, so the other part of this is it belonged to a world-renowned collector called George Gebhardt. And he is a super well-known German mineral collector. He even has a mineral called Gebhardtite named after him, which was first discovered at the Sumed mine and named in honor of him in 1983. Typically, Yermayevite crystals are yellow for most localities, but there are a few spots in Namibia which have produced the finest blue crystals of the species extant. This miniature-sized crystal is a very attractive gemmy hexagonal prism with a beautiful light blue color at the base, which grades into colorless at the termination. The crystal is well formed with smooth faces and no real sign of etching, which is rare for this material. Euhedral, which means well-formed gemmy crystals of Jeremievite, are certainly worthwhile specimens to add to any gem crystal collection. Pavel Jeremiev was born 1830 to 1899, Russian mineralogist and professor at the St. Petersburg Academy of Sciences. Jeremiev actually found the first specimens of the species. With that said, Jeremievite is the most desirable gem minerals for collectors, is one of the most desirable, as there are few places in the world where fine crystals have been found. Now, that is just a little note that's going to come with it. So here I have included information on this important crystal that I had researched and printed out for you. Then also with the crystal comes another very important part, and that is the provenance of it. It is the original label, which I always told you how important that can be, of from George's collection, and that comes with it as well. Orongo, Namibia, in 2000. That's really cool that they include the year that this gem was mined. It is an aluminum borosilicate, or an aluminum borate, but it can also have fluorine and hydroxyl molecules as well, or alternating out. It has a refractive index similar, a little bit better than topaz, hardness of 7, so it's a good hardness, and it was first discovered in 1883. The sources around the world are, the number one is the Namibian, and then the others are Burma, Russia, and Tajikistan. You're looking at one of the rarest gems on the planet. And in this crystal form, it could be faceted, that is obvious. But of course, it is a much better treasure to be left in that crystal form. A crystal that long and in that beautiful tapered shape with a great termination is valuable. I have this priced because I felt like I bought it really well. And I am getting to offer it to you at what I consider a excellent value. This is one of those gems that can do nothing but go in one direction by way of value, in my opinion. Price on this, I just made it something simple. I really had no actual concept because I've never actually had a Jeremievite like this. Price on this guy is only $438. That is just under $100 a carat. Only $438. Yeah, it should be. You're exactly right. He said, you're exactly right. Latif said, you sure it's not 4,000? And it could and would easily be. The price on this is really whatever you want to make it. It is that rare of an item. And to be blue, just go do your own homework. The crystal shape of this is phenomenal, phenomenal piece. And the clarity, everything about this. If I had it, I would love just to cap one end of it and just have it as a dangling pendant, as the crystal that it is. If you're clever and careful, you can clean up some of this. See this outer oxidation? I put a fluorescent light to it, and it fluoresces reddish, which tells me it is most likely feldspar. So some of that can be removed if you want to do anything, but maybe not. I think maybe not. I think better left alone. Look at the clarity of that. Only $438. That is, out of my entire collection, one of the rarest and most impressive pieces I feel like I've ever had. So, yeah. All right. Let me go and keep going here. let's see, 1209, 324. 1209, 324. I love specimens that are aesthetic and that have lots going on. And this is one of them. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Wow. You should right away recognize several minerals. Now, this would be called what? It's bigger. Maybe they call it a toenail instead of a thumbnail specimen. They do. That's a official determination. A toenail specimen bigger than a thumbnail. Look at this. Look at those crystals. Look at that beautiful mint, blue, green tourmaline. But what stands out and what I noticed first was the purple. The purple. And you should know what that is. Lepidolite mica. That's a lithium mica. They're chasing it around the world after that stuff now. Lithium anything. Look at these crystals. How one balances or rests on another. Look at this one. How it is intergrown. This is why it's so fun to look. Look at every different little crystal and how it intersects another. And then look at the termination of this one. And the little sidecar and the irises. Look at those irises in that. I'd never seen those in this before until just then. Then look at again the purple. Beautiful. Now, if I asked you what is the real name of lepidolite mica, would you get it right now? Would you know what that is? I talked about it the other day. It's something you need to know because they have I want to use a bad word, but they have canned the lepidolite name, even though they're keeping it around since everybody still uses it, for polylithanite-trilithanite. Yep, that is the new name, polylithanite-trilithanite, because it can fall in between those two. All right, look at that. You have great clarity here, great clarity here. And as we keep turning this, what else can we find? This is from the Logman deposit. This is also, look at that neat little crystal right there. How cool is that? This has a possible aquamarine crystal on it. Has anyone spotted it yet? You can see the pearlescence to the lepidolite. And as I turn this, yeah, there are irises in this. And look at this one. So look at this tourmaline. You can see by the three sides, you have a lighter color core. You can see the phantom almost, or the bicolor nature to that. And I wonder, it doesn't go all the way down there. Look at everything going on. So if it's three sides, you know it's not going to be an aquamarine. Being a beryl is a six-sided mineral and has other properties that you should be able to define it different than the tourmaline. You know, I found the aqua on here one time, and then I went to look for it again, and I remember I couldn't find what I thought was an aqua before. So I question it. That's why I put in there possible aqua. So obviously I questioned it then. But I wouldn't put that unless it's there. Hold on. This one maybe right there, because they actually do and are found formed together. Is it six sides? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this would be a etched 6. Do you think? You see that? It's not 3. So this is, I believe, the one. And look, okay, here's the other. See the little sparkly exterior? That is different. And it's a slightly different color. That could be checked with a filter. But I'll leave that to someone else to do. Okay, that's just a fun specimen that looks fantastic in so many different directions. And I have this one sale priced big time. Making that, again, that one in auctions would be hundreds of dollars. It's crazy because of the aesthetics of it. The purple along with those, like that. See the crisscrossing crystals and, you know, like the lepidolite sitting on top of that, like that. That all matters when it comes to value. Believe me, it wouldn't be selling for the $77 that I have it for. $77. Now, I am going to keep going till they toss me out. Oh, you're going to love this. Item 1220424. And let me say that differently. 1220,424. 1220,424. Now, this, if I said, what is the mineral I use to protect my U-238 from the radiation from escaping? What mineral? Would you know the answer? Because I've talked about it, I've shown you. Would you remember? Well, I'm getting ready to show you. Because if you have anything radioactive in your house and you basically want to put it in a lead line type box, well, you're going to have to settle for this. A malachite box. Look at how beautiful that is. Look at that. That is gorgeous. And I have shown where I do have U-238, of course, because I'm Shawn. And Shawn has those kind of things. So, and I have shown you because, of course, I have a Geiger counter. If you mess around with the R word minerals, you then have to be responsible and have a Geiger counter. The copper in this malachite, out of everything I've had, blocks the alpha, beta, and gamma radiation better than anything else I have used. Aluminum goes right through it. It's amazing how well a malachite box works. So since I keep some of my most radioactive crystals, elements, you know, econite, a gemstone, but very radioactive. Not far from my head, but with a Geiger counter, I know I'm safe because it's not only in a malachite box, I have 2 other shields around my radioactive minerals. So well protected there. I won't wake up with a brain worm. But look at this. Okay, so every bit of this is malachite. And nice thick box. And I can't believe I did not sell this before when I offered it. I am letting this go. If you want a very, very cool box, it's only $48. Only $48. Beautiful, beautiful, natural malachite there. A lot of work goes into making that for only $48. Item, let me see, where's here? Oh boy, am I going to have a nice mess to clean up. Item 125-0425. 125-0425. And, ooh, what do we have here? Look at this. Look at this. Again, another one of those specimens that has a lot going on. That is what makes them valuable and attractive aesthetically. Wow. Okay. Phyllosilicate. Phyllo meaning sheet leaf like. Obviously. Look at that. I could take my fingernail and peel every layer of that muscovite crystal apart if I wanted. That is so well defined. Look at that. I showed you that large crystal of mica that I found myself. Very close to where I live many, many years ago. And I love that piece. To this day, it's still the largest piece of mica I've seen at any show or anywhere else, even though they are found larger. I just haven't seen one myself. Look at this. Okay, there are, that's another mineral right there. Don't know if I've defined what exactly it is. This has, of course, aqua. It has shoral, tourmaline. No, tantalite. I thought that looked a little bit different. Tantalite. A rare tantalum niobium type of ore. This is a rare earth element. They mine tantalite. They want to find tantalite deposits. Look at, so this is a rare, you can see it's etched. This crystal would have been much bigger and etched out. Look at the wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, well-formed muscovite right there. This, I did not remove that. You can remove it if you want, but I think it might be xenotime, which is a another rare earth. It's kind of friable. It's decomposed, but if I put the Geiger counter on it, we might get a signature. Look at these other little crystals of quartz here, and then you have that beautiful aqua. So you know why talk about it when you have the real deal right here. Here we have it. We're going to test it right now. All right. See that? Here's my Geiger counter. Let's fire it up. Let's get check the ambient. In other words, just in the air from radon and natural radiation from the earth. So it usually runs anywhere from 30 to 50. And let me just put that here in front of you for a minute so you can see the range in counts per minute. That's what the CPM means, counts per minute. Now, let's put it over near this and see if we get any difference. And then we know if it's safe or not. It would instantly go way high if there was a issue. So if it goes up a few little points, then there is, you know, it would have to top 1,000 before it would ever be any type of an issue. So as I turn this behind it, I'm getting it to face from the strongest angle of, let me see. So very, very little. So there is just a little bit, I see from the one side, a little bit more than the other. It can be a impurity in the tantalite, because tantalum on its own isn't, but rare earth elements tend to associate with some of the radioactive elements, and that's where you get a little bit elevated. So this, of course, being totally safe in every way, but does confirm the fact that it's got rare earth elements involved with it. There is some real, here's the aqua. Yeah, showing you everything but the main. Look at that beautiful euhedral form to that. Look at the clarity. If we look back here, the outside is a frosted finish, so you can't tell. There's the window. Looking in that window, wow, look at that. Now, that is some wonderful clarity as you look all the way down through it. That's gorgeous. That is a facet grade aquamarine right there, with a lot of material to work with when you look through the window. There is, you know, you look at something like that, but there's so many other minerals found in the Pakistan deposits that, you know, I would normally say that's aqua, but I'm not really sure. That could be something super rare right there without having confirmed exactly what it is. So this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. It has a lot going for it by way of aesthetics and by way of its association with garnet and albite. Did we find the garnet? A garnet on here. Let's see, what is that? Let's go right in there. I didn't say it was big. I just said there was one there. Could be. Yes. There is a garnet there. I wonder if that's the garnet I meant for it to be. I mean, look at all these neat little pockets something could be hiding out in. Hold on, what is that? I have missed that before. Look at that well-formed tantalite crystal. What is the two colors? Isn't that two colors, black and then look at that. And then look at the little needle crystal right there. What is going on there? And then you have some of that friable type of orange material there. That is something really different, folks. That is cool. Look at that. I have never seen that yellowish clear area. Two of them in the middle of the crystal. And then look at the quartz around it. That is a treasure. I did not notice that before. Wow. Wow. And there is stuff underneath all this feldspar coating that often ends up with these specimens. There it is. There it is. There's the garnet. I knew it had to be better than the one I showed you the other day. You can see the actual faces on the crystal itself. There's the garnet. Wow. Now we're complete. Goodness. Wow. That's a stunning, stunning specimen. And at the price I'm making it, it is stunning as well. So it's a tantalite, by the way, Mn. In other words, tantalite has a lot of different associated minerals with it. So this is the manganese tantalite, and making it additionally extra special. So I am going to sale price this, and it's against everything it tells me. But you know, I can't. I need some teeth money. I gotta raise some money, and that's going to be to all of your benefit. So I'm going to mark this down. It was already a excellent value at $178. Let's do this. Let's make it only $148. $148 for a large aquamarine specimen with so many positive aspects to it that piece I could see in an auction easily running $800-900 or more, and those in the know that is absolutely the case. Now, oh yeah, 124-2325. Oops, 124-2325. I have. Oh yeah, this is straight from our wonderful neighbors to the north, the fantastic country of Canada, and right from Miss Penny's backyard in Quebec. This is the Jeffrey Mine. The Jeffrey Mine in Quebec is about the equivalent to the Graves Mountain Mine here in Georgia, for one of the most prolific mining deposits in the world, with the most number of different species, huge number. Take a look. Take a look. It is so well known for that right there. The salmon pink grossulars. And this is what it blows my mind, why this didn't sell before. I showed this one time before. See that diamond-shaped pattern? This is one of the most recognizable and desirable patterns in the grossular garnets coming from this mine. And it is, look at this. Look at these garnets. Those are a stunning look. And it is fluorescent with dioxide. Orange, beautiful orange fluorescence. Look at look at that. And that's that very desirable salmon pink color in a grossular garnet. And of course, I always am going to try. Maybe the orange will show up as a fluorescent. So hold on one second. Let's see here. I know it's certainly fluorescent, but again, I don't know why. We just don't able to show fluorescence like I'd like. All right. Thank you anyway. Okay, here we go. Here is a beautiful, 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 beautiful edition. And there's fluorescence all throughout this piece. You actually have a couple other types of crystals besides the dioxide. You have these other ones, the green crystals. This is gonna let somebody have some fun in figuring, look at these. These are well-defined green crystals. I should have done a little more homework on that before giving this away at what I'm going to. What are these? It looks like, maybe some crystallite type. All right. I just need to move on and from this after giving you a deal you can't refuse. Here it is. Ready, set. Say sold it. Only $58. $58. You could fasten a stone out of that one for that much. Especially since location is everything, and a Quebec grossular is a valuable gem. Now, let me see what I have here because it segues right into this next item because I see it says it's from Quebec as well. Let's look at item 124 3625. And oh, what do we have here? Wow, look at this. So here's the two side by side. Whoa, that's a lot going on there. All right, so you can see the big, large grossular. So we're going to remove that one. And let's take a look at what we have here. Look at that. Now, it's obvious where what the diopsides are. And then look at this color grossular. This is grossular as well. Look at these crystals of diopside. This is really attractive. Really attractive. And look at that. That is most of the finest specimens in the world. The first thing they have going for them is aesthetic. A lot of people don't even care what the minerals are. They just like however it looks or contrast of colors. They don't care necessarily about the chemical makeup of a specimen. They like the look. And this is one of those because of the contrasting colors, just like that salmon color one. The contrast, the colors, the uniqueness, that salmon color, what a unique gem that is. Then in this one, it is the contrast along with these crystals facing into each other. Then look at deep in there. That is a beautiful, beautiful package of gems. Wow. Wow. This is one, again, I'm offering it for really, it's one of the quarter for nickel deals. It really, really is. I'm going to sale price it. I had it at only $128. Look at that. $128. Put that up in an auction, that would be $500. Especially since it's from the Jeffrey mine, which is one of the most desirable collectible mines in that you could want something to be from. Here we go. I'm marking it down. How about this? Jump on it. $88. $88. Yeah, try to go to a show and find something of that quality and value for that kind of inexpensive price. Now, okay. Oh man, do I have 5 minutes? Huh? Okay, let me go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I'm winding down time, but let me show you some items I've never put together, never shown you before. Item number 125, 8125. 125, 8125. Oh, I had a whole bunch of stuff. And I know I always do. Okay, hang on. Look at these. All right, this is a pair. These are two beautiful, beautiful Australian sapphires. And hold on, let me get my. Oh, I can't. Well, I had it both say. Okay, now let me just take these out real quick. These are the well-known ones that have what they call a party color. In other words, they are a blend of colors. And let me just show those to you in kind of this fashion. And they're close to the same size, but as you turn and move these, you can see they go from a bluish green to blue to yellow. Look at that. And depending on which way you turn them, and that's why they call them party colors, because of the way they change their nature. Carat 93 total weight. I have these. Look at that. Super, 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 super sale price. And make the two of them because I was trying to get down to some items that affordable for everyone, and ran out of time. So let's make these. How you gonna like this? Bow stones, $44. Bow stones only $44, and with the couple moments, what a tray! I will get to this stunning tray I have for you next week, but until that moment, because I had some diamonds I want to show. So for those of you that have been out there waiting for me to feature some more diamonds, I have them. I also have some sapphires. But let's look at item 1, 2, 3, 15, 24. 1, 2, 3, 15, 24. And what I'm going to show you is, to me, it's one of the most undervalued gemstones there is in the market, and that is sphenes. Sphenes. Look at that. Look at that pair of sphenes. They are stunning. They're emerald cuts. They are, look at that, beautiful, beautiful. You can see the double refraction in them. That is a classic. Look at that. Look at that. Wonderful, wonderful stone. Look at the beautiful dispersion and colors coming out of them. All right, with the limited time I have, I won't take them out any further, but what I will do is give you a big discount. I already have, but we're going to take it even lower, 2.05 carat. So how would you like those stones for the equivalent of, less than 25 a carat? Make it $48. $48, and I know I need to wrap it up, but let me wrap it up with one item here that I'm going to put a nice discount on, and it is item 1, 2, 3, 6124. 1, 2, 3, 6124. So we'll just move that to the side. Look at this. Look at this. Here is a really unique specimen because you have amethyst and oconite. Oconite is one of the members of into the zeolite range of family members. It is rare to find it in a amethyst geode. Look at that. This is a beautiful representation of something you just do not see very often. And I think it's wanting to sit up on its own. It certainly would do really well in a stand. And I'm just going to put it right there for the moment. The piece doesn't pull down. Beautiful piece. A beautiful piece. Look at that. Really showy. And for this this guy, I'm going to make it at a big discount for you. How about it? I'm going to offer this for only, yep, I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. Okay, here we go. Ready? Wow, what a piece. $148. Only $148 on that. That is half the price it was. Oh, great camera work. I just looked up and saw that. Look at that. You can see so many other little interesting areas that I didn't even notice before. Okay, I know I need to do a last item. So it is, unfortunately, coming up, but there'll be another week. I will be back. I don't know if to show you the pod porachas or what, but, or the carved emerald owl. I hate it. Okay, here we go. I have, oh man. I wish I didn't love gems and minerals so much. I just wish I didn't. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Here. Item number 121. What is that? I messed up with 8 and 6 and 4. 121 6524. 121 6524. Check these out. Check these out. This is the real deal. I had these cut from rough. So I know, no treatment, natural color. Look at these pod porachas. Look at these, the real deal. Umba Tanzanian pod porachas. And the light I'm looking in, they're a lot more peachier, but you know, they change color with the direction you turn them anyway because they're dichroic. And get these at home, and you're just going to see the wonderful, wonderful blend of colors that create a podparacha sapphire. Meaning, it's a word that translates to the lotus flower and the color of lotus flower. So I have the three of these. They're no heat, rare parcel, and again, when you see these in person, you're going to see a lot more of the sunset color, as they say. So you can have all three of these right now for, as Miss Gabby said, wow, that they were really inexpensive when I offered them. And I said, I know, but I still have them. So what's the deal? All three of these, $57. Only $57 on that. Exceptional. And the very, very, very last item of the show is this one. It is item 124 4325. Let me make sure that's, 124 4325. I just wanted to get a few items out there for a little bit less expensive, and this will help fill that need. I have items everywhere, so difficult for me to know where to show them. Look at that. Look at those natural Burma spinel crystals. And I am talking about gorgeous. You can see they're alluvial. In other words, at one time had been tumbled in water. Let me backlight that one so you can see. Look at the purple. And look at the red. And then look at the orange color. Let me get the color behind that. Look at the clarity to that. Wow. Wow. The parcel of all three. So these were mined in the 80s. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And I'm offering these at a sale price and make it only what would be equivalent to, $20 a carat, $98 for all three. $20 a carat. How? $20 a carat, $98 for all three. And since it's right here, 120, 49.24. 120, 49.24. I'm only going to backlight this. Last item of the show. This is from Petaniera. And look at those tourmalines. Look at these incredible tourmaline crystals. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I am making these so inexpensive, it would be ridiculous for someone not to take advantage. Whoops, here we go. And let me show you the color. Look at that. And it has a really unique twist to the growth of the crystal. That is if you're a crystallographer, you know a lot more than I do about what that means. But that's actually quite rare and unique, and you can see the different colors it causes the tourmaline to be in it. Then look at this one. Look at this one, indeed. Yeah, look at the green, and look at the termination. Okay, so see the termination, how unique and different it is compared to other tourmalines. That actually matters. And then look at this one. So this is a what's known as a floater. In other words, no, it was not attached anywhere in the matrix. So this floated in the pocket and grew and formed, floating around by itself. And it looks like there's a bicolor. Yeah, it's got a different color. Yeah, there's definitely a bicolor nature to this. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll leave it to someone else to have fun to figure this out. Yeah, look at that. Look at how that changes color. Look at that gem. And that is absolutely facet grade. Okay, I'm going to honor this as the last time on the show. Latif has been patient enough with me. This parcel is going to be a absolutely stunning opportunity, and I am making it really, both of those for, well, let's make it end it on a great deal, $28. $28. I kid you not. And just go down and look at those three right there together. if you would look at that. Look at those three. Look at those three last items thrown in the show. Look at that. So 28. Yeah, can you believe it? Okay, so we have the pod parachas, we have the spinels, and the ending with the, look at that, $28. I know. All right. And with that, I'll be right back with trivia. It's that time. As I was trying to gather up, there was so much I had out. So here, I won't tilt the tray because all of it found. Okay, so see that? All that is gemstones and inexpensive gemstone parcels, discounts, deals. I'm going to keep that tray together for next week. And I have well, lots of exciting things to get to with you. Okay, so trivia. I have 3 questions. We're running late, so let's get to them. Ready, set? All right. First question. Name 2 mines, so the name of the mines, and the location that were mentioned that are world famous for mineral and gem specimens. So, name 2 mines and their location. So, the name of the mine and the location that are world famous for mineral and gem specimens. So, 2 specific ones that I had mentioned. Now, remember, there's a lot of mines that produce a lot, but there's a couple specific ones from around different places in the world that are exceptional. They happen to be 2 that I mentioned. So don't stray out, because I can think of others I've mentioned in other shows, but in today's show. Question number 2. Name 3 varieties of green garnet. So think of all the families of garnet and think of 3 different ones and their names. Their specific names, not the big family name, their specific sub-family name. That's it. So name 3 varieties of green garnet. And you should know that. Number 3. In the brittle mica family, and if you've never actually gone to the brittle mica family, you can just, in the Mindat little search bar, type in brittle mica group, family, whatnot, and it will guide you there. But in today's show, regarding the brittle mica family, I mentioned 2 members of the brittle mica family. Name those 2 members. Okay, so that's it. When you watch the show as many times as you want, when you get to this part, the trivia part, that's when you have to stop watching and honor sister from there. And good luck. I am trying to put together another What Am I for y'all. I know you like that, but have some questions here to get through first. Okay, so thank you all so much. I enjoyed the show. I appreciate Latif working in the extra time so that we can try to keep it. I know so many of you really appreciated the extra time. This show was going to get squeezed shorter again, but again, thanks to Latif working it out, we managed to, I think, squeeze out a full show. So, lots of neat things. I didn't get to a lot that I'm going to show next week. So I don't know if those of you are not familiar with what a show and go is. I'm thinking about doing one. So remember, that's where items I have featured before. All I do is give you the item number, the price, and there's no information that comes up. I just talk about it for a moment, put it aside, go to the next item, with a discounted price. So it's a way for me to show as many items as possible at a substantial discount and for you to be able to see more items than I normally get to present. The only reason I can do that is because hopefully these will be items that you've seen before. You already have the general knowledge, so I don't have to give the big, broader presentation that I so enjoy doing, but sometimes I get a little long-winded, just a little, Latif, long-winded about the items, and I just want to make sure you have all that information, but it's not always necessary. So, to maximize the number of items I want to show you, I'm thinking about doing a show and go. So we haven't done one of those in a while. Not sure if I'll do it next weekend, but I have to build up for it. So lots for me to plan to do because I have decided to release some more of my goodies at the high end, as all of you have noticed how the items have been morphing into some really cool stuff. So I enjoy it. It takes me a long time to process and get the items ready because a lot of the items have been tucked away and I see them again and I just get so involved, and then they sell and go away and I miss them. But thank all of you so much for your continued support. And, you know, I know you can get your items, your products, your rocks and minerals from a lot of different other places. But I hope that this personal relationship that we have and that kind of the way I present the material, having traveled 6 continents, mining, having and still am a prospector, master goldsmith, master weapon. I hope that you find it a more involved way to learn and to buy what you learn about. And if there's anything I can do to improve that experience for you, let me know. The comment section. The comment section. I encourage you to participate in the comments. You don't have to participate in the trivia, but if you do, you never know. There's a high probability that you win. I know there's people that have won 5, 6, 8 times in a year. So if you want to get involved in that, just give it a shot. There's no truly wrong answers. The only thing, you know, by not participating, you can assure that you'll be wrong. So I find when most people start playing, then they really enjoy playing. And when you win that first gift, oof, it's always something pretty cool. Then it kind of encourages you all. So anyway, I do what I can, and I so appreciate all of you doing what you can in whatever little purchases you can make. And for all of you that if you haven't, please like and subscribe and keep us here so we can keep on going. God bless all of you. Enjoy your spring and cherish Mother Nature and one another. See you next Monday. Cheers.